Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Is It Wrong Podcast with your host, me, Ray Parr. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe and share. Add all your comments. We love the comments. Every time we have a special guest, there's different comments. We have a conversation. We have a great time, guys. Remember to get our merch. We got some cool t-shirts, some cool mechanic shirts, some hats, some buttons, some mugs, all kinds of real good stuff. But just stay tuned for today's guest. It's going to be a great one. Hey guys, welcome back to Is It Wrong? My guest today, this band hails from Peoria, Illinois, and they're on Rock Records. They formed in 2008, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong later.
Yes.
And they're currently still touring. They have two full albums, Kingdom of Shadows, which was released in 2012, and Fury of Angels, released in 2021. Its current band members are on vocals. You got Jeremy Ray, Kevin Gross on guitar, J.L. Peters on guitar, Raven, how do you say his last name? Furjold?
Well, he actually pronounces it Raven, and then the last name is Furfjord.
Furfjord.
Yeah.
I like that. Robin Furfjord.
Say Robin,
right.
yeah.
And then the drummer's some little guy named Wade Helm. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
There was also past members were Wes Watson on bass and Kevin Schmidt on guitar. And if you've never heard of these guys, they sound, in my opinion, like some early Queensryche, some Crimson Glory, early Maiden. There's some Judas Priest in there, some Steve, Fates Warning, and I even hear some Steve Vai and some of the solos.
Okay.
Well, your guitar player. Who does most of the solos?
Really, they split it up. They try to. I mean, there's, they'll take turns, and it's like, it's pretty split down the middle. Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Innersiege. Well, please welcome Wade Helm.
Yeah. The rest of them are here in spirit.
Yeah. So what happened to the rest of the guys? It started out, there was going to be like 10 of you, then 9, then 8.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I know. Poor Ray, we kept going back and forth on what day we were going to do this and who was going to join. And it just sort of fell apart to where it's just me. So, we got guys working. One guy's having some health issues. Another guy, he had Robin, our bass player, burst his eardrum. So he's nursing that right now. And so, a lot of craziness going on. So I'm the only one who's available.
Yeah, man. Well, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, so I'm going to throw some fireball questions at you. Just
okay, I'm ready, I think.
I like doing some of these. Some that I've used before, and I got a couple of new ones in here, but just answer with the first thing that comes to your mind, hot or cold?
Cold. I don't like the heat, man.
You don't like the heat? Why?
No, I don't like sweating.
Oh, bro.
I know you live in Florida, but man, I've been to Florida probably 5-6 times on summer vacations. It's way too hot.
Oh, my Lanta. You ain't been to the right place. All right, you ready? Sushi, raw or cooked?
Oh, yeah, you should know this too. You've been out with me to eat, and I don't get the sushi, so cooked.
Yeah.
Well, but I like it cooked.
Yeah. Have you ever tried the raw sushi?
I have. I had it.
You just don't like it?
I didn't hate it or anything. It's just not something I'd go nuts for,
Yeah. All right. So beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Mountains are beautiful, but you just gotta try the beach, bro. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Do you like cats at all or no?
Yeah, we had one years ago. We had both at the same time, but I'm still always partial to dogs.
Dude, I used to have a cat. I'm a dog guy too. I don't do cats now. I think I'm allergic to them because my eyes, and I get sneezy and stuff. But I had a cat, man. We lived on this golf course in Chicago, and I'm on the back porch, and I'm just sitting there watching. It was later in the evening. There was nobody golfing, and my cat, he's out in the back right there. He's just doing whatever it is cats do, rolling in the grass. And out of the corner of my eye, bro, I seen this bird coming, and I'm like, no. He's like in slow motion, man. This thing came, it was big old hog, and he grabbed my cat and took him over the trees. And you can hear the cat. And he disappeared with my cat. That messed me up so bad. I've never had another cat again.
And if you have a dog, you have a big dog, right?
Bro, yeah, I do. He's think like 95 pounds. Brindle
and
color.
No picking him up, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen? You ever seen anything weird like that?
I have not like that. No, I've seen, there's tons of squirrels here in Illinois. I mean, there's squirrels everywhere, I'm sure, but tons around here. I saw one fall out of a tree once. Usually they're pretty sure-footed, right? They're jumping between branches all that. I don't know if he missed and just did this squirrel fall out of a tree, splat on the sidewalk. He laid there for a second, dazed. Then he got up and walked off. So I guess he was okay.
Wow.
He wasn't a flying squirrel. He was a fallen squirrel.
A falling squirrel, yeah. Hey, so take me back to the beginning. Innersiege. Who started Innersiege?
Well, how far back do you want to go? Because I can tell you when I first started playing with like band.
Right.
Years ago, and that's kind of morphed to where we are now. So there's been all these iterations to get here. But yeah, I joined my first band when I was freshman in college, and we were called Streetlight, which was a key song or the DeGarmo and Key album. And so it was me and like a couple of youth pastors and another guy who was like the junior high guy at a church, and we formed this kind of like just rock band called Streetlight. Then that kind of morphed. Some guys left, and we decided let's go in a heavier direction, and we changed the name to Violent Mercy. And we went more almost like thrashy, And then that kind of morphed over the years. And then for a while, we were a band called Strangeland. And you mentioned Wes Watson and Kevin Schmidt. They were in the band Strangeland along with myself and Kevin Gross and a gentleman named Carl Mustard on vocals. So we were Strangeland for a few years. And then, again, some members changed. Jeremy came in. And we thought, well, let's go in a little bit different direction. We want to go more like, power metal, classic metal, that kind of stuff. And just ramp it up a little bit. So it was about 2008 when we changed the name to Innersiege. And then the lineup as we know it now probably came together about 2010. So Robin moved here from Norway in 2008. And we just kind of knew him as, a casual friend or whatever. And then we went to do another where he filled in on a couple gigs because Wes wasn't available. And then Robin just kind of came into the band.
Wow.
So, and then JL was a friend of ours. JL, the guitar player, we all knew him. He was in local cover bands, and he was a friend of ours. He'd come and hang at our practices and stuff. So when that guitar position became open, it's like he already knew all the songs because he was always at our practices. So Jerry just kind of stepped in. Jerry, JL, same thing. So he stepped in and took over with guitar duties, and that's kind of when we solidified the lineup, probably like 2010.
So what's the significance behind the name Innersiege? What does that mean, Innersiege? Where'd that come from? And what is there like a deep meaning to it?
Well, I'd love to say there is, but really it's one of those things where we all just were like brainstorming ideas of names, and we all threw them into like, a Word document. And so we're looking through all these names one night at practice. We're like, that one's kind of cool. I don't remember who even came up with it. And so then we went out and looked on the web to make sure there wasn't another one out there or something,
Yeah.
When we were called Strangeland, we found out there was like 10 other Strangelands out there. And we actually got a cease and desist letter from one of the other Strangelands to quit using the name and stuff. So, we want to make sure there wasn't another Innersiege. So, not some deep spiritual meaning, but I mean, I guess if you think about it, you could say, well, like our hearts, right? There's always a battle going on for your heart. It's like it's under siege, but it's also an inner siege going on inside, right? So, there's your deep spiritual meaning to it, I guess.
Well, it didn't necessarily have to be a spiritual meaning, but I was just wondering what the meaning was. It's just like with Warrior, the name Sacred Warrior started out we were just trying to come up with something that sounded cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it morphed into what it is now, anyways, but that's enough about me. But
well, I will say though, I gotta tell you that Sacred Warrior is an awesome name because it sucked me in when that album first came out. Well, actually, I saw you guys, I think, twice before the album even dropped because, you guys were a Chicago band. I live in Illinois. So I had the privilege to see you guys a couple times before the album hit. And so when the album came out, I'm like, oh, I know what's coming,
Oh, yeah, that's awesome, man. Hey, and I noticed that between your first album and your second album, there was like 7 or 8 years in between.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I remember
we were trying to, beat Boston's record.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it was like 6 years between their albums or something.
Yeah.
No, I get asked. I've been asked that before, and I'm just going to give you the answer: life. That's what happened. Was life. We just had a ton happening. Kevin, our guitar player, was actually going to be going into full-time missionary work, and they were going to be moving overseas. So he really had to step back from the band for a couple of years. and he was concentrating on that. He went overseas to meet with the missionary organization he was going to be with and do training and all this. And the family went, and then they met with people over there. And then he had to go around trying to raise support and everything. So he just really had to step back for probably a couple of years. He was, still there, but not as much as he was before. And then we had health issues with Jerry, our guitar player, had a stroke. And so he had several months of sort of recovery to get back to being able to play full on strength and speed and everything again. Then right as he's getting well and getting his strength back, his wife has to go to the ER one night, and they find out all of a sudden, oh, you have cancer. And so she has to have a stem cell transplant. So that's takes her out of commission for months. So there is just, a lot happened in those few years that just set everything back. I think the drums were done 2 years before the album came out. The drums were the first thing we recorded. And I did those in our singer's living room 2 years before it came out. And then it was just, finding time to get the rest and money. You know how it is. We did it all ourselves. So you're trying to find the time to do it, trying to learn all the software, trying to learn, how to mic the amps and all that stuff and get the right sounds. And then, we did want to have it mixed and mastered by somebody. But we ended up doing that ourselves too, because we just couldn't afford to ship it off to somebody for mixing and mastering. And so kudos to Jeremy. He busted his butt to just take a crash course in all things recording and mixing and engineering, and set up a studio in his basement and recorded guitar solos and vocals there. And it was crazy.
Now, let me ask you about the drums. Were those triggers actual drums, or were they all samples? Or
well, I played my electric kit, so I have acoustic and electric. And because we were doing it ourselves, I didn't have time to try and mic all the drums and get all those tones. I played my electrics, but the samples are real drum samples. They weren't like the synthetic ones. We actually bought some real drum samples and then just replaced my sounds from my electric kit with those sounds. But I was playing everything just on an electric. I've got at least this kit, and then my acoustic kit's a Pearl. So
I got to tell you, one of my top favorite songs from you guys is that Power, Metal, and Glory song. I love that song.
Well, it's funny too, because that one was really we were talking about, metal roots, that's where that song came from, because when we were interviewing each other within the band and finding out each guy's sort of story, we all had that similar story of the first time you heard whatever band it was. First time you heard Queensryche, first time you heard Iron Maiden, first time you heard Priest or whatever, and how that music just hit you like a ton of bricks and what it did to you. And, that passion that took hold that, 40 years later is still going, That's basically what that song's about. Just, that passion for the music and the friendships it's brought us through the music, and, this tribe we have with fellow metalheads and stuff. So it's just it's just a feel good metal anthem, So.
And another one is What Kind of Love, that instrumental. That song reminds me of Steve Vai all day long. Who did the solo on that one?
That's Kevin on that one.
Kevin, is he a Steve Vai fan?
Yeah, I mean, both him and Jerry. I mean, if there's some guitar player out there, they're probably influenced by him. But yeah, I mean, they both love Vai and Eric Johnson and Yngwie, and you name all those guys. So yeah, because we're all of the same age, and we all came up through the '80s when all the shredders were coming out and all the guitar gods and everything. So Vinnie Moore and just you name them all. But yeah, I'm sure
Vinnie Moore,
influence.
Yep. Who does most of the writing?
I would tell you, Jeremy comes up with a lot of riffs, which is funny because he's a singer, right? But he's also a guitar player. He can play rhythm really well. But yeah, he writes a lot of the riffs, and then he'll bring an idea to practice, and then we kind of just hash it out, And then Jerry will say, well, what if we did this diminished thing here or whatever? And Kevin's like, well, I think we need to do this here. And that, it's just, that's kind of how it comes together. And then sometimes it's a lyric first, you know, and it's like, okay, this is a cool lyric. Now we got to find some music that fits with the theme of it or the power of it or whatever. But yeah, mainly it's, I think most bands, you go off that riff, you're just jamming, and it's like, let's take this riff and see where it goes, you know?
Yeah. You know, as I dove into more and more of your music, I found that a lot of your songs, let me rephrase that. Your songs all sound kind of different. Like I said in the beginning, you have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, yet they all come together in such a cool way. I was really impressed because at Immortal, I didn't get to watch very much of your show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, you got so much going on.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And then as you and I spoke about doing this, I delved into that stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, these guys are really, really good. You know, and so the Rocks record deal, that's the only label you guys ever signed to?
Well, actually, the first record was on Rocks. So we just did like a distribution deal with them because we had the album complete. So when we took it to them, it was a distribution deal. So they printed them, they got them out there, they put it out in stores and online and everywhere. Then the second one we did with a record label actually out of the Netherlands called No Dust Records. Oh, so wow. It's a smaller independent metal label, and the guy that owns it actually owns a record store in the Netherlands that carries like tons of metal and stuff. So, so it's kind of two labels because No Dust is the parent label, but then for the U.S. distribution, they use like a sub-label over here called Qumran Records, which is based out of the Chicago area. Right. So Qumran kind of handled U.S. distribution, and then No Dust did Netherlands and Europe and everywhere else. So
yeah,
but guys. Again, it was a finished album we brought to them, and same thing. They printed them, got them out there, and distributed them, and you know. Yeah,
you guys ever do any shows out there? In other countries and stuff, or
we've been overseas once as Innersiege, and then back when we were Strangeland, we went to Norway, and then Innersiege went to Elements of Rock in Switzerland.
Yeah, we've been there. I love that place.
Yeah,
how was Norway, bro?
Norway was very cool. We were there in November though, because that was Nordic Fest, and it was in November, so it's cold. You know, because you're right on the water, right on the ocean there. You know, in Norway. In November, and the wind was blowing. So, but yeah, it was cool. That was a cool little venue too. It was upstairs in some building downtown, and I think Barren Cross played that for that festival's Barren Cross. I think Darkwater played. We played. I think Once Dead played.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, Sacred Warrior never got invited. You hear me? We never got invited there. Norway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was cool. Love to go back to either of them or somewhere different if it ever happens and opens up.
Yeah.
But you guys got to keep it true, and I'm jealous of that one because I know of Keep It True as a fan. I've known of that festival for years and always wanted to attend it.
It's great, man. The people love music. I'll tell you what, we had so many people come up and say, dude, I'm not a Christian, but I have your records and I love your music.
Yeah.
And it's a good feeling because God is planting that seed anyways, Yeah. What's the coolest place you guys ever played?
Oh, gosh. Well, I tell you, Immortal was really cool. Immortal Fest. Yeah. BMI is a cool venue. That was fun. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest stages we've ever played.
Oh, really?
A big venue, too, I mean, that's a really big venue. But we played, I don't know if you ever knew of this place when you lived in Chicago. I don't know if it was there back then, but it's called the Home Bar, and it stands for House of Music and Entertainment Home. But we played a festival there. This was several years ago. I think in like 2013. But really, that place had a big stage, and it was a big venue and killer sound system and good lights and stuff. So that place was pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, probably the standout was going to Elements of Rock. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. We played there. It was. Let me ask you this: where did you guys stay? You didn't happen to stay at the gun range, did you?
No, we stayed at like a Boy Scout campground or something.
Oh, okay. When we went, we stayed at this gun range. It was really nice, really fancy. It had all these beds and everything. And they bust us in. And the funniest thing that happened to us when the promoter was bringing us there, we're going and there's all these people lined up outside. And the promoter goes, look at all the black people, right? And I'm like, I didn't see any black people. Okay. And I'm like, where? He goes, look at them all right there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, all them people. And I said, for us, black people means your skin is black.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no, we don't have them here. He goes, these people, they were all goth people with the black vest and the leather and the makeup. And he called them black. I just thought it was so funny, man. It was great. But it was, yeah, but it was a huge show, man. And then people, just like in Germany, they love their metal. You know, you've been there. Yeah. One thing I thought was really cool was the train ride in the tunnel. When you go in the tunnel, all the stuff painted on the walls and stuff. Did you guys see all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere in Switzerland. You go through the tunnel, even had sound effects when you go through it because they had like cows painted on there, and you hear like, "Whoa!" as you're going
man. Yeah. How long were you guys out there?
I don't remember what day we flew out. Like the festival was Friday and Saturday. I think we flew out Wednesday, maybe, and then by the time we got to Switzerland, it was like Thursday morning. You know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then, or maybe it was Friday morning. I think we got there the day the fest started. It might have been Friday morning. And then the fest started that night or something. So, yeah, we were just there for like maybe 4 days, you know, the 2 days of the fest. And then we had like Sunday to sightsee. And then we flew home Monday. So it was a quick trip. And Norway was kind of the same. We just had, you know, a day free to kind of check out Oslo or whatever. And
Yeah. That's the part I love the best about traveling in other countries, that free day, right?
Yeah.
You know, for sure, man, for sure. You ever take your wife with you or anything or no?
Unfortunately, she hasn't been to the overseas ones, no.
Yeah, but she's been to Immortal. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
She's been to every Immortal. We've gone to all of them, so.
Yeah.
One in 22 and both in 23 and both in 24, so yeah.
I remember meeting you guys there, man, down in that breakfast room. Yeah. You remember that? In that hotel? Yeah,
because Dave Cruz was down there too, and John Cassandro, or a bunch of us down there eating.
Yeah, man. My life has been changed because of Immortal Fest. The amount and the quality of friends that I've made, is just incredible, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, I would agree. We've made some really good friends through that have come and visited us here in Illinois, and you know, stayed with us for a few days, and we didn't know them before the fest, you know.
Yeah, and that's just it. You become friends. In fact, we talked about you possibly coming to the Chicago show, right? When we play November. I mean, it's a thing, man. And when I see you, I'm going to give you a big old hug. It's like you're my buddy, you know what I'm saying, Tammy? And it's a cool thing, man. You just meet people, and it's kind of like in the back in the Cornerstone days. Did you guys ever play Cornerstone, or had you ever been there?
We played it when we were Strangeland, and I don't know if we ever played it as Innersiege. I think we did, but I'm trying to think when Cornerstone ended. I think it ended in 2012. Was that the last year for it?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
We might have played it once as Innersiege, but we played it a few times when we were called Strangeland, and I always attended it. We went to I think I went to 3 of them in Chicago, and then when it moved down here to Bushnell, we went to like all of them, you know?
Yeah. And we were the opposite. We used to go to all the ones in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then when it went to Bushmill, it was quite of a cruise for us. So I think we only went to like 2 of them, you know.
Oh, wow.
And then even like in 2012, the last year they did it, it was kind of lame. Not a lot of people came. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. I remember the festival grounds used to be like packed with tents everywhere. It was like tent here and then a tent way over there and then a tent way over there. And you park anywhere you wanted because it was empty. It was that year was just sort of depressing because it was like really short. Yeah. Went from 36, 40,000 people to like 3,000 that year.
Yeah, you know? Man. Yeah.
I think when they moved the main stage up to the food vendor area.
Yeah.
When it used to be in that natural kind of hillside bowl, when they moved it, I was like, no, this isn't good. The main stage needs to be down there in the bowl, you know?
That valley, man.
Yeah.
I remember sitting up on the hill watching POD down there, you know, I'm like, with all the flames and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw Bloodgood on the main stage and Tourniquet and Guardian and White Cross and tons of stuff, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
But I did see you guys in Chicago when you played with Vengeance in the little, 4-H metal hot building with the concrete floor.
Oh, yeah.
We were at that show.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. I'm trying to get Vengeance on, with the exception of Roger Martinez on my podcast. You know, I've been talking with them guys. And it's kind of like with you guys trying to get everybody together. You know, this one's got a problem with that. That one's got a problem with that. It's like, man, let's just do something, you know?
Right. Exactly.
It's difficult. You know, I've learned I've learned that doing this, sometimes it just comes easy and natural, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth. You know what I'm saying? You saw my post I did this morning. I think it was that I'm going down to bi-weekly now because it's so difficult to do this weekly.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
You know? Yeah, man. But I'm going to tell you one thing. So at Immortal, we've gone out for sushi, I think 2 or 3 times. When you meet us in Chicago, I'm going to take you out for some real Mexican food. You like Mexican food?
We do.
You like spicy Mexican food?
Well, you know, earlier when I said I didn't like hot, that also pertains to food.
Ah, man.
I like
all right, this interview is over. Thank you, for joining us.
Yeah. I like flavor, but I'm really not a fan of like my mouth being on fire, you know?
Yeah. No.
My bald head just sweats real easy, so, you know.
Oh, bro. I got to tell you, one of your live videos I watched, I don't know which one it was, what song. You guys were in a club and the lights and everything, and they zoomed in on you and you were bald and your head, like right here from here up, it looked like you had a bowl of water just sitting on your head. You know what I'm talking about? I don't remember, but I'm looking, I'm like, man, he is sweating.
Well, I never realized till you start to lose your hair and then you shave your head. I'm like, man, there's nothing to catch the sweat. It just runs down your head.
Yeah. How old are you?
56.
Oh, man. Okay, so I got a way to go yet before mine starts falling up.
Yeah.
You know how old I am, right?
I don't, actually.
Oh, I never told you. I'm 60. Well, December, I'll be 62.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'll keep my hair.
Are you doing good? You kept your hair longer than me, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I use crazy glue.
Yeah, right.
Do you, I know at Immortal you did, but do you ever take a lot of time out for fan interaction?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing I think we love. I mean, we love playing, but yeah, no, we love hanging out with people. That's a lot of the reason we do this. I mean, we love the music, but we love the people too. We like to talk to friends that come out to shows, new friends that we meet, hang with the other bands, you know. Yeah, that's the big part of it, is just talking. I think when we were at Immortal in July, I mean, I talked for 2 days straight. I don't remember hardly watching the other bands because we were just talking to people, you know?
Yeah, it happens.
So, yeah.
What's the weirdest interaction you ever had with a fan?
Man, good question. I don't know. I know our guitar player Kevin, the other Kevin that used to be in the band, had a couple weird interactions, but luckily it wasn't me that had those. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had one that's too weird. You know.
Yeah.
We played a gig recently up in the Chicago area, and there was a couple there, and they were very, political. So they stopped me outside. We're talking, and just started going politics and telling me all this stuff, and it went like almost into like conspiracy theories and stuff. So you just shake your head and
Yeah, that's all you can do, man.
Yeah,
that's all you can do. When we were in Germany, my wife Trissy, she came with us, and there was this chick. She wanted to get a picture with me, so she gives Trissy her phone and says, "Would you take our picture?" And Trissy's like, "Yeah." So the girl, I put my arm around her. She gets next to me, and then she starts getting her face like right next to mine like this, and then I'm kind of like, and then right when Trissy's gonna take the picture, she's like, and I'm like, whoa. She turned over like she wanted to smack in the lips, and I'm like, nah, that's not gonna happen. And my wife goes, after we got done, we walk away, and Trissy's like, that woman kissed you. I said, no, she didn't. She's like, yes, she did. She looked at it, I'm like, no. I said, that didn't happen. Did not happen.
Yeah.
Outside of being bandmates, do you guys hang out with each other much?
We do, not as much as I'd like, because Jerry, our guitar player, plays in about 4 bands. So he is busy from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, practices with other bands. I mean, so he's really hard to see outside of the one night we get to carve out for him for our practice. But try to, but everybody's got families and stuff going on, so it's difficult. But we do go to shows together sometimes, So I think, I brought Kevin when we came back for the September edition of Immortal Fest. I brought Kevin, our guitar player, with us. He came just to hang out. I'm trying to talk some of the guys into coming up to see you in Chicago in a couple weeks. But,
man.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you the balance between, family and music, but seems like you guys all seem to have a real good balance. Do you guys have any kids?
Yeah. So Kevin's got 4, but they're all older. His youngest is probably 17 or 18. My son's growing out of the house. Jeremy and Christy don't have any kids. Robin doesn't have any kids. Jerry's got 1 son, and he is 10 going on. No, he's 11. 11.
Oh, yeah.
11 this past year. Yeah. So, yeah, we all got kids, wives, or significant others, girlfriends. So, yeah, jobs, other commitments. Robin's very involved with the Disciples Motorcycle Club.
Oh, yeah, that's
he's
great.
Like the vice president for like the Illinois chapter or whatever. So he's really busy. If he's not doing band stuff, he's doing like club stuff and rides with them or whatever. Like I said, Jerry's in a bunch of bands. Plus, he plays guitar at a church quite often on Sundays. I'm in the band. I also play drums at my church, so I got practice on Tuesday night for that. Practice on Sunday morning, service on Sunday morning. Kevin's involved with the church. Not playing worship at the right now, but he's like helping out with sound and everything. So yeah, we're all busy all the time.
You know what I think is so neat about that is most of the musicians that I know personally that I hang out with or have any kind of connection with that are in bands. They're also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Playing drums at church, running sound. I run sound in my church. My son Dylan, who plays keyboards with us in Worldview, he's our drummer at church. He's a phenomenal drummer. We serve there, and it's great, man. I think that kind of connection between you and your church keeps your focus where it should be. You know what I'm saying? They ask me in church all the time, why don't you sing, Ray? I'm like, I don't want to sing. I want to do sound and let the praise team sound good. That's my thing, but I'm not trying to be there. There's so many guys that I'm just talking about Christians now that are in bands and Christian bands that they have this rock star image about them that they want to be the big rock star. I should be singing solos in church every Sunday. Shine that stuff, man. Humble yourself. Do it on stage.
Yeah.
And let the people do, and for me, I get more of a rush, more of a satisfaction. I'm going to say more of a rush when I'm running sound and my praise team is just like, oh man, sounding great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, as the sound man, you kind of hold all that power, right?
Yeah.
Make them sound great, and if you get stuff dialed in, and yeah.
I do this thing to my pastor. I mess with him. I don't do it that often, but he'll be saying something, and I'm quick, and you'll see what I mean by that. I got my hands on the board, right? And my pastor will say something like, you just got to remember not to let the devil in your life. And like, I'll just catch that. And then I'll hit the effects button and hit repeat on the delay. Devil in your life, devil in your life, devil. And people crack up. I say crap up, crack up. Maybe they do that too, But I love doing that. I love having fun. You know what I mean? But
sure,
yeah. For me, I just love running sound and stuff.
Well, we're kind of the same because, sorry, man, got a frog in my throat. But we're kind of the same because none of us are very serious. I mean, if you hung around us long, you would know we all have like sarcastic, stupid humor, and yeah. Kevin, our guitar player, is so quick-witted. I mean, you say something, he's got these little comebacks, and my wife's always like, "How does he do that?"
Yeah. So I was going to say, who's the biggest jokester in the band?
Probably Kevin.
Now, do you guys ever pull pranks on each other?
No, we haven't really. I do have a funny story though.
Bro, yeah, let's hear it.
So years ago, my wife is a sign language interpreter for the deaf. That's what she does for a living. So years ago, when she was kind of going to school and learning sign language, one night Kevin at band practice, everybody's gone, he's still there. So he's asking Tammy, well, what's the sign for this? What's the sign for this? And, just quizzing her. He goes, what's the sign for wet? And so she signs whatever it is, and he throws his cup of water on her. He takes off running, goes out the door, goes flying. We jump in the car going to try and find him. We can't find him. He ran all the way home, and he lives like 2 miles from my house. He knew Tammy was going to come get him, so he took off running.
Yeah, he's like, feet don't fail me now. Oh, man, doing that Fred Flintstone thing, right? Oh my!
So don't ask Tammy what the sign for wet is, because she's been burned by that one.
You know what? I'm gonna just to mess with her.
That's right.
I won't throw any water on her, but I will ask her just for the heck of it. Dude, my cousin Ben, when we recorded Rebellion, we're in the studio in Chicago, and he was like our manager, right? And we locked out the studio for like, I don't know, 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever. And we're there and it's late and he falls asleep on the couch in the listening room, right?
Yeah.
We duct taped him to the couch. He was out because we're up hours and hours and hours. You're exhausted.
Oh yeah.
He didn't even realize that we duct taped. So he wakes up and he's got his arms crossed like this and he opens his eyes and we're all looking at him and he's like, what? And he does that and then he goes, oh, then he realized then he's like, oh, I want to kill you guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but we've done some stuff that I don't want to repeat on the air. That's not anything that I'm willing to admit to. But I'm going to ask you, you ever done anything crazy that you're willing to admit to?
You know what? I'm pretty boring in that regard. You know, I was the kid in school that followed the rules. I never skipped class. Even in college, where there's nobody monitoring you, right? You're an adult now. You can skip class if you want. Never skipped a class in college. Went to every class.
Yeah, me too.
I've never called in to work sick. You know, if I've taken a sick day, it's legitimately I'm sick. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of boring in that sense. Never was one to push the boundaries of the rules, I guess. Except for in the 80s when everybody told me I couldn't listen to heavy metal and I couldn't have long hair. I mean, I had hair, but you couldn't have long hair, couldn't listen to metal, couldn't do this. Oh, I pushed back on that.
Oh yeah. Like Kevin from Disciple, you only have it on one side, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I was always a rebel in school too. But I was saying like you, my wife gets mad at me because I don't take sick days. I will go to work feeling like junk, man. She's like, why don't you stay home? I'm like, oh, God, I have too many responsibilities. But I'm the turnkey of that. I'm the biggest jokester you ever met. That's what I want to do. Every time we're rehearsing, because, we rehearse online. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah. And I'm always cutting up on them. And I love busting on Larry. Larry's really sensitive in a good way. But I love busting on him, man, and I have a real good time doing that, But can you think of a time in let's say even in the last year or two where God just really used you or your band or your music to minister to somebody, and they said, "Man, I needed that," and you were able to pray with them, and you've seen a life change or. Can you think of a time?
Well, I tell you, at a Immortal Fest this year. So we had a couple instances. So there was a kid there. He's like 20, and he was there with his grandpa. And Kevin came and grabbed me. I was over at our merch booth. He's like, wait, you got to meet this guy. So he pulls me out. This kid who's like 20 now, his grandpa had our other band, Strangeland. We put out like just a 3-song EP CD.
Yeah.
Well, his grandpa had that. And this kid used to listen to it all the time when he was a little kid. And he still loves that CD to this day. You would have thought he was meeting the Beatles, meeting Kevin and I, knowing that we were from that band Strangeland,
Wow.
And just, how much he loved that CD and listened to it when he was a kid. And then there was another gentleman at Immortal Fest that was talking with Kevin, our guitar player, and they got to talking about the lyrics and all this. And Kevin went in kind of like deep about the album and everything. And he's like, wow. He's like, I never really looked at it from that perspective. He's like, I want to go back and listen to these lyrics even deeper now and all this. And he came back to Kevin, I think like the second day and said, man, I really get it now. This is awesome. So just when you see those kind of light bulb moments that people kind of get what you're talking about and or tell you your music, I think that's the coolest thing about music when somebody comes to you and tell you, your music, really means a lot to me. It got me through a dark time or, whatever, or it encouraged me or, those are the moments that matter. But yeah, there was just a few of those at Immortal Fest, which were really cool.
Yeah, there's something about when someone comes up to you and says, "Man, your music ministered to me, man." It brought me through tough times, and I grew up as a punk kid, and now I'm a pastor, and I know all your lyrics and all. That changes a man, doesn't it?
Oh, exactly. I think that's the power of music. I think that's why like you and I, people who are so passionate about music. It's not just something we put on the background. It's like, yeah, it's a nice song. Okay. No, I get it in my core. I get music there, you know, I feel it. It's visceral, you know, and so I think, when it hits you in that way, you know, I mean, it can bring you to tears. It can make you laugh. It can make you smile. It can give you that high. I mean, you can get all that from music. I've never needed drugs. I've never done a drug in my life. Never drank in my life. I don't need it because I have music.
Man. So, yeah.
Exactly.
I wish I could say that. In my teens, I did a lot of stupid crap, you know, but no, it's neat. And even to this day, we still see the fruits of that, you know. Seems like every show we go to, we meet somebody new that, you know, the fruits of your music, you know, the years and years of you writing and recording and touring, touching people's lives. And you're always meeting somebody new, and everybody has a different story.
Sure.
You know, I love that, man. I love that. For me, that's probably the biggest high, if you will.
Yeah.
When somebody comes up and says, "Hey, man, you know, your music this," or, you know, and it's great, man, because when you're writing this stuff, you're writing it as an entertainer, as an artist, right? But when you're writing the lyrics, you're like, all right, how is this going to affect someone's life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's this going to touch and what's going to come out of it, you know? And like, even with you guys, my sleeve was touching my arm. I thought something was crawling on me. I hate bugs and crap. But even like with you guys, is there one particular song, let's say, that you would think this song right here probably reaches a lot of people? Like for us, He Died reaches a lot of people.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And Holy, Holy, you know.
Right.
You guys have any songs like that? Or?
Well, it's funny because, I mean, a lot of people love Dragon Rider.
If you can't find those who see in the spirit, they'll tell you of one called the Rider. Mountain atop a terrible dragon. What's he here for? You'll never know till it's too late. It's too late when it's over.
And that one was actually written. A friend of ours had like a dream one night, and you know, like the dragon, almost like you know, the devil, right? Breathing down your neck, and you can feel a hot breath on your neck as you're trying to get away and all this. And it's sort of, you know, that song seemed to resonate with a lot of people, and I don't know why. I mean, that's not, you know, like a feel-good song in the sense of that, but another one we wrote called Abuser has resonated with a few people because that's a true story.
It means nothing to me when you softly touch my face. You touch the same as Daddy used to. I hear you call me beautiful. I've heard that.
Jeremy, our singer, is a professional photographer. And so he used to do, you know, all these photo shoots, and he'd go to these conferences and meet all these different people. And he got to know this one gal that he photographed a lot. And she was telling the story of, you know, unfortunately in that world, in modeling, a lot of times it goes down the crapper, right? It's like starts out innocent modeling, and then it goes, you know where it goes. And that's what happened with this one girl that went from like, well, it's really pretty, but why don't you know, put your shirt down a little, and why don't you do this? You know, he's trying to get her to do all these things. And so the song Abuser is really about her and what she went through, you know, in the modeling world, and the things that, you know, she was asked to do that didn't sit right with her and everything. So there's a line in the song where if you listen, there's a lady's voice in the background, and she says, "He says I'm so pretty," you know, and you hear her saying that. And so that one, I think, with some female listeners has kind of resonated, like, you know, stuff that maybe women deal with that we don't deal with.
Yeah,
you know?
Man. Yeah. I've never had anybody say I was pretty. I mean, you know,
right.
You have any hidden talents that nobody knows about that you willing to share?
I can juggle.
Can you really?
Not awesome at it, but I can juggle.
Like with 3 or 4?
I'm not going to get bowling pins out or bowling balls or flaming chainsaws or something anytime soon, but
that would be cool. I would pay to see that.
Yeah. Tennis ball, something like that, you know. You know, I don't know if it counts, but I'm pretty good at burping, so, you know.
Can you burp on demand?
Oh, probably not. Not too much pressure now.
Oh, no, I'm just curious because I know my buddy Bruce, his wife, you say, his wife. Burp. His wife, you say, hey, go ahead, Kelly, go ahead. And she'll be like, burr. And you're just like, yeah. it's disgusting and all, but
right.
You know, I mean, yeah. You know, so
I think my other talent is people jokingly say I'm like an encyclopedia for music, and I don't claim to be that, but I just, music's the only thing I've ever been into. Like a lot of people have another passion, right? They love music, but they love baseball or football or sport. Nope. Music's the only passion I've ever had. Never been a sports guy, not into anything else, just music. So if I'm not playing music, I'm listening to it. I spend every night. I'm on YouTube searching out new bands. I'm not a guy living off my laurels. I grew up in the 80s. I love the 80s stuff, but I'm not stuck there. I'm like, there's so much music that's come out.
Oh, yeah.
There's music coming out right now that's killer. So I'm always in the now when it comes to music. I'm discovering new bands. I discovered one today, and I'm on this chat with a couple of buddies of mine. I'm like, hey guys, check this one out. Just found this band, some German metal band. So yeah, I've always just had the one-minded passion. So I guess I do know a lot about music, because when I'm bored, I'll sit there and I'll just get a piece of paper and I'll write, okay, Sacred Warrior, Ray Parr, lead vocals, Bruce Swift, lead guitar. I know I go through all the members, Steve Watkins bass, Tony Velasquez drums, and I'll do that. And at one point I had 75 bands on a piece of paper with every band member listed and what they play. And my wife's always like, you're a geek, because I just know this weird stuff. Or she's like, where did that album come out? I'll be like, 1982 on Chrysalis Records, or whatever.
Dude, my buddy Jeff Rankin, who was our second guitar. Yeah, he was our second guitarist in Denied. He's just like that. You can name any band, he'll tell you the band members, when they came out, what they left that band to go to that band, and this and that. It's just like, how do you remember that, man?
I don't know different than the sports guys, though. They can tell you, like, somebody's rookie year was this year, and he had about a 300 average that year, and this. Yeah. Then he got traded and he went to this team, and so I'm just that way with music, So
you know what? Now that you put it in that perspective, I get it, because I'm a big football guy. I know a lot of the players and the quarterbacks, so that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I've always wondered how people just know this stuff. Like you said, you take notes on it like you would if you're going to study for a test or whatever. But realistically, when you're watching football, you're watching consistently, and you know who's playing this and who's that. Right. Well, I get that now. I didn't understand that at first. It was kind of weird.
If only there was a way to get rich having that knowledge, because it hasn't really afforded me anything yet. I haven't got invited to the metal edition of Jeopardy or anything. So,
there you go. Hey, if you could meet anybody, doesn't have to be a musician, who would be that one person? Not Jesus, obviously.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty easy question, just because I think this guy is really cool. He's a drummer and he's a believer. But I just think he always has seemed like a cool guy to me. I would love to meet Nico from Iron Maiden.
Nico McBrain. Yeah.
Just think he seems like a fun-loving, easygoing guy, down to earth.
Yeah.
So
that's
spending a day with Nico would be kind of fun.
I don't remember if I read it or I heard it somewhere. I heard that guy got saved. Mm-hmm. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I read the whole story. It's funny. Well, okay, so this happened years ago. I heard about it, and I thought, is this true? Because if this is true, this is really pretty cool. So in the story I read, it talked about the church where he was going. So I'm like, I'm going to look up the church on the internet. So I looked it up, and there's a phone number. I'll call it. So I called, like the church secretary answers. So, okay, really going to sound like a weird question, but I said, I was reading this article about Nico, and it says he goes to this church. She's like, oh, yeah, he does. He's a great guy. And so,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
was that here in the States?
Huh?
Was that here in the States?
Yeah, he actually lives in Florida, like Boca Raton or somewhere like that.
That is too funny, man.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny. Any guilty pleasures music-wise, like you into the Bee Gees or Tom Jones? Or
I don't know if there's any band that's a guilty pleasure, but I can tell you a couple songs that are a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
I think every time I hear them, they're just fun and I like them, even though they're far cry from metal. So, the Life as a Highway song, I think it was, who did that? Was it Tom Cochran or something like that? The original Life as a Highway. But then Rascal Flatts redid it for the Cars soundtrack. I really like the Rascal Flatts version. Okay. I think they did a good job with it. And they're kind of a pseudo country band. I mean, I guess they build themselves as country, but most of that country stuff now is like arena rock, But they did a really good
with rap in it.
Yeah. But I like that. And then, do you remember the band Was Not Was, an 80s band? They had the song Walk the Dinosaur. It was the one that went boom, boom, acca-lacca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca, boom, boom. Now you have to go look it up.
I'm going to look it up. I think that's cool, before my days.
Cool, funky kind of pop song, really cool bass line in it. So, yeah. Every time that comes out, I'm like, oh, this is, just a fun song, even though I would never probably buy a Was Not Was album, but that's a fun song.
Yeah. I've always been a Tom Jones closet listener, too. I love that guy's voice.
I want to see you pull out some of those moves the next time you're on stage.
Hey, you know what? I might just have to do that. People are going to turn.
That would not be unusual, would it? No,
not at all. And would it be wrong?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. The weirdest thing for me in Germany, like the first time we ever went there, the showers was like on a platform, and you turn the water on to shower, and it turns off. You just got enough time to get you wet, and then you lather yourself up, and you turn it on, and then it half rinse and turns off, and you got to crank it up and half rinse and turn.
Oh, geez.
I'm like, what the heck? And then when we went to restaurants, when you're getting coffee, they're like, how many cups of coffee are you going to drink? I'm like, I don't know, 2 or 3. And they bring you just enough water for 2 or 3 coffee, or just enough coffee for 2 or 3. And they charge you for everyone. So after the first one, I'm like, I'm having one coffee.
Yeah.
But gosh, man.
Well, I know the place we stayed when we went to Switzerland for Elements, like say it was this Boy Scout campground, and it had, a shared bathroom, almost like a dormitory. Yeah. But it was weird because the floor was made out of like something waterproof, like a rubber or something. The whole bathroom was just covered in this stuff. And like when you took a shower, the water just went like everywhere, but then it just went down the drain, and this floor was like rubber or whatever. So like here, we have a shower with doors and walls to contain it. Yeah. Didn't it? Just kind of went everywhere.
That's actually a pretty cool thing.
So yeah, and it was, I guess in the sense of gets the floor clean, maybe.
Yeah. Wow. You guys, so if y'all are having health issues, are you guys going to do another record? You're going to keep doing more shows if they come up? Yes, we're
actually working on it right now. If we get some gig opportunities, we will take them, but we're not pursuing some gigs right now because we want to spend time writing and trying to finish it. We've been writing. We probably have 7 or 8 songs done enough to play through, Wow. You got to like doctor them and add the embellishments and this and that and tweak stuff. But yeah, there's a few of them we can play all the way through, and we've recorded them, rough recordings and stuff. So Jeremy just sent me one last night before. It was a riff that he brought to practice that I'm like, oh, dude, we have to do that one. And he's got a full song now around that riff. So now I'm going to start practicing that, try and lay a drum track down to it and stuff. So yeah, we're working on it. We hope to have something out, and I guess weird to say 2025, but I guess, yeah, that is what's coming up.
I know, right? Yeah, man. Yeah. Dude, it's really Warrior. We're known for taking like 50 years to write an album. We're all strong-willed in what we want to write. Yeah. Musically and lyrically, but it seems like we're starting to come around with, 2 or 3 songs, but they're going to be great songs, but it's just,
well, it's tough when you're not 20. When you're a bunch of 20-year-old guys and all you're doing is practicing, 5 nights a week and everything, it comes together a little quicker. When we get 1 night a week for 3 hours at my house, we practice here like 7 to 10 on Wednesdays. Yeah. Otherwise, everybody's just kind of on their own noodling or whatever, but we only get that 1 night together. And so, yeah, not going to get a ton done when you only got 3 hours a week together.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah. Especially if you're like, for me, I got work, then I got rehearsals, then I got the podcast, then I got preparing, and then I got church. And then it's my mind for me. Like when we had Warrior at the beginning, we'd rehearse 3 days a week, 3 hours every day of those 3 days. Yeah. And we'd record some music, and I'd sit in the mixing room with the speakers cranked up, and I'd listen to the music, and I'd get inspiration, and I'd start writing. And that's what I focused on for 3 hours. Yeah. So 9 hours a week, basically. Yep. Yeah. And now I don't do that, man. And I got no one to blame but myself, obviously, but
oh yeah. Back when I was
really difficult, man.
Early 20s, mid 20s, we'd probably practice. Sometimes it was close to 5 hours because I would go to our singer's house, and then we would drive to the place we practiced. I'd meet at his house at like 5:30 or something. So we'd get out to the practice space, and we'd go till midnight, Wow, yeah. So yeah, that wasn't unheard of to do that. And then we get back to his house, stay in the driveway, and talk for another hour.
Oh, so, yeah, man. Can never say goodbye, right?
Yeah.
Never
we used to
can
do those
say goodbye.
really long practices, and they keep getting shorter and shorter as we get older and busier. But so I practice on my own. I mean, I think you have to. So that's the thing. I mean, like I say, I have church rehearsal Tuesday night, Innersiege rehearsal Wednesday night, but in between those other nights, I'm doing my practicing. You know, I got to learn the songs for church. I got to work on the new stuff the band's working on. You know, so I mean, there's all the practice I do on my own that I don't really count towards that, but that's going on too. And then Sunday mornings we rehearse at 7:30. Then we play the service. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot. But you know what we do is for the love of it, right?
Yeah, if you love it, it's I don't mind it.
Yeah. It's just you got to make time and prioritize your time, and do all that stuff.
Well, it's like you're doing the podcast, and I'm doing one as well, and I started it again as a labor of love. It's like, hey, I want to talk to some of these artists and people that have influenced me, and just talk with them. But I spent the last 2 nights editing till midnight.
Wow.
And then getting up and going to work. So but just to get the editing done, and then like I say, I've got to put all the feelers out to try and schedule them, and then all the conversations back and forth. Okay, let's do this night at this time, and then I've got to get when I first started doing it, I didn't have really like a set, so to speak. So I did all these lovely decorations you see behind me.
Yeah, I like that, man. Yeah.
At least. And I got some lighting going on now that you can't see. So it wasn't just like a webcam. I've got a nice camera set up. I invested in a microphone. So there's a lot that goes into it for something that does, it's just a fun project.
Yeah. What kind of mic you using?
It's just something I bought off Amazon. It was like a $50, came with the
out
and everything.
I actually have one of those.
Yeah, I decided I can't read it. Some Japanese brand or something. But
hey, it works, right? As long as it works, that's all that matters. But is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would wish either that I would have asked you, or you want people to know about either you or Innersiege? I like to ask that question because sometimes. I asked Ken Templin that, and he's like, and then he just went off on this thing,
Yeah. Oh, Ken's a talker too, though, man.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Never take a breath either.
Yeah. Oh, I know, man. I know.
I don't know, unless you want to just talk about how I got into music or how it started or something, or.
Yeah, man. Whatever. Like I said, I don't ask all the general questions, but I do open the opportunity for anything,
I wouldn't say I wouldn't necessarily want to talk about this on the podcast. I just think it'd be interesting for you and me to talk about it. But the whole like Christians in a band versus a Christian band, the eternal struggle, So, but I don't know if I want to talk about that on the podcast necessarily, because my viewpoint might I might offend a lot of people out there.
No, come on, try me.
Well, okay, I'll tell you, I've done a 180 in my thinking. If you would ask 25-year-old me, you got to be a Christian band. You got to have an altar call. You got to do this. Oh, if they're playing at bars, they're not a Christian band. 180. That's the only place we want to play now is bars.
Yeah.
We want to play bars. Immortal was the first Christian thing we played in a long time,
Yeah.
We all got to talk on one night at band practice. We're like, listen, when we were playing just churches and things like that, people are coming out of a sense of guilt, like, oh, there's something at the church, I guess I should go. And you could tell they weren't into it, and they're not into our music. And it's like, who's into our music? The guy that's sitting at the bar on Friday night, he's the guy that's into our music. The guy I graduated high school with, who still goes to the bar every Friday night, and that's his life. That's who we need to reach. So we purposely, that's why we pretty much, we don't bill ourselves as a Christian band per se. We are all Christians, and there's nothing to what we're doing, and that's why we're doing it, because yes, we want to be a witness, but we are trying to be on par with Primal Fear and Firewind and Dream Evil in look, in sound, in cover art. It's all purposeful, because we don't want to be like lumped into the Christian category where nobody gives you the time of day or whatever, So, and I know there's some people, even Immortal Fest attendees, that wouldn't probably like that answer.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is I agree with you 100% on that. We played a lot of bars and clubs, and we've been fortunate now that we're mainly only doing festivals, but they're not Christian festivals.
Yeah, right. No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you know what? I'm right there with you, man. Hey, I know this is kind of cliche, but the well don't need the doctor, the sick need the doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
it compiles.
I honestly think we have done way more ministry playing bars than we ever did playing churches.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, because exactly. I mean, we can go and preach to the choir and sing to the church and give everybody a good night entertainment, and they go home.
Yeah,
but
and that's exactly
what we go to a bar, and we can try and make an impact on somebody's life, maybe strike up a friendship, you know.
Yeah.
That turns into lasting dividends here, you know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
no, yeah, you know, I think that's the thing. Like, you know, Michael Sweet gets flack for saying, "Well, we're not a Christian band," you know. Obviously, they're Christians, but I get where he's coming from because, yeah, as soon as you say you're a Christian band, they stick you in this little section over here in the record store, away from all the real metal, and you don't get the time of day, and you're instantly like, people aren't going to listen to you because the word Christian's in there, and you know, I mean, if I listen to a band that's a bunch of Jewish guys playing metal, I don't say they're a Jewish metal band, or you know what I mean? Why do we have to stick the tag of Christian on music? Why can't
you're right. Yeah,
and let the music do the talk and let the lyrics do the talking. I don't say I'm going to read a Christian book. I just read a book, you know, or whatever. So yeah, I think that's the only medium we have to put in this pigeonhole of it's got to be categorized, you know, and drives me nuts. So
yeah, and it's sad, right?
Yeah.
I agree. No, I personally hate. Only because of who we are, though. When people say you guys are a Christian band, yeah, we are, but we are Christians in a band, and we're a Christian band. But I think for us, we're entertainers. I'll put us up against anybody. You know what I'm saying? Secular, you know. And it's like you said, when you're known as a Christian band, people put you in this little category. Oh, that's nice, you little Christian band. Praise God, you know. Yeah. No, we can get out there and rock with the rest of them, and you know.
Well, look at it. I mean, you guys got to open for Queensryche. You got to go to Keep It True. I mean, you're rubbing shoulders with some of the titans in the metal world here, you know. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, and I'm really grateful, man. I'm grateful for this podcast. I'm grateful for the band. I'm grateful that I've had a great marriage for 35 years, and you know, for me, my life encompasses everything. You know what I mean? It's not just the band, it's my kids, it's my wife, it's my job. And you try to be what God has called you to be in all things, you know, and that's how I try to live my life. And the band is, for me, it's more like a reward, you know, because I've been talking with George, and I'm like, dude, I just love playing live. I love playing live. And he's like, well, I'd rather be in the studio writing. I said, well, you keep writing and I'll keep playing. you know, I just love performing. To me, that's the biggest rush for me when you're out there and you're going, now you know you can be free. And people are like, you know, or holding. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. That to me, that's. I don't want to say my ministry because it's more than my ministry. It's part of my life. It's who I am, you know, and so. For you, I'm kind of gathering the same kind of vibe that you're saying is you don't want to be locked into a Christian band, Christianese, as we call it, you know, and just want to be a band of guys that are kicking butt and with a great message for the Lord, and God's using you and you're going where he's called you to be, you know, and I wouldn't change a thing, man. Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
Like you said, that's the thing. I mean, I think all the hard work you put into it and everything, the 1 hour you get on stage is the reward, right? And that, you know, and it's not about, me, because I'm on stage. Ooh, I'm a rock star.
Hey, I want to be a rock star.
No, that's not it at all. It's when you get there's nothing that beats the feeling when you're playing one of your songs, like you say, and people are singing along. It's like, wait. We're just a bunch of nobodies, and they know the lyrics to our song. They're singing they like it. You know, so,
that's a rush, right?
Yeah, that's a rush. And then when you get to talk to people off stage and just show them, hey, I'm a regular guy. You know, you know, I was just mowing my yard last night too. You know, or whatever. I was just scooping dog poop in the yard too, or you know, whatever. You know, Rob Rock, right? Yeah, I don't. Well, I know who he is. Don't know him, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he's like 20 minutes from here's my buddy. And you know what he does for a living? He's an impelletary, and he does. Oh, yeah. Do you know what he does for a living?
I do not.
That man cuts lawns for a living.
Really? Almost like a landscaping business?
He's got it's him and his son and two guys, or one other guy. And he told me the other day, he said he's got like 250 accounts.
Wow.
That's what he does. He cuts grass and picks up dog poop. And you know what I'm saying? But people look at him and they're like, oh, he's got to live in this huge mansion. He's got to be this big rock star. He's a humble rock star. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I think if the more of us that can keep that humble attitude, it's better, man. Because you know what? It gives Christ a good name.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in a band and you guys are pretty popular and you know it, and you're that prideful. Yeah. Well, do you know who I am? You know, and I was like,
Yeah. First to admit, I am not the world's greatest drummer. You know, I'm the world's okayest drummer, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can turn on YouTube right now and there's a bunch of 6-year-olds that can run circles around me. So I don't have any illusions of being the world's best drummer or anything. I'm thankful that I can play the drums and God gave me a gift and I can use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always going to be somebody better, faster, cooler, you know, whatever. So yeah.
Have you seen, there's a guy on Instagram who drinks a cup of coffee and he plays with one hand.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mario or whatever his name is.
Yes. Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah,
insanely fast, you know.
That guy's incredible, man. Yeah. And he's like, you know, drinking his coffee. Just
exactly.
I'm just like,
he plays like, you know, some Avenged Sevenfold song, one-handed.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Or Linkin Park, or just a little something. Somebody asked me to write a song, and while he's drinking coffee, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but Wade, listen, man, it's been great hanging with you. I wish we could have had more of the guys on here, you know, and it's always fun when you get a group of guys together, but sometimes when it's just two guys, you get a little more intimate, a little more open up a little bit more about things, you know what I'm saying? And I know that this is it's great for me because I got to know some insights about you guys in the band, and I had some questions, and you know, as far as the writing and stuff, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm a big fan now.
Well,
you know, since I started listening, and this is stuff that I will listen to forever. And I already shared it with a couple of people because, like I said, at Immortal, you get so busy, you don't sit and watch all the bands.
Yeah.
You know, but I promise you, next time y'all play around, I'm going to see you. I'm going to watch you guys. You know what I mean?
So I said I felt bad kind of at the first Immortal Fest because there was a lot of bands I was excited to see, and I heard them in the background. I didn't get to really walk over there and like watch them, you know. So.
Yeah, man, I know because people are talking to you. You're not going to go, hey, hold on a second.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Hold on.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well,
man.
I don't say this to give you a big head or anything, but you should know that Sacred Warrior was a direct influence on this guy and most of the guys in our band. You know?
Praise God, man.
I mean, Robin loves Sacred Warrior. Kevin loves Sacred Warrior. We all grew up on you. Jeremy loves Sacred Warrior because he loves your vocals. I mean, so you guys, when you came out, 1988, you know, there was nothing like you really in the Christian realm. There wasn't. I mean, we had a lot of metal bands, but we didn't have anything in sort of that vein, that style. And that's the thing. When I saw you guys, I think the first time I saw you was at the Odeon in Chicago, and you opened for Barren Cross.
Chris Jericho was at that show.
He was? Really?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Wow. Well, because I knew of you. I'd been hearing rumblings of this band, and, you know, there was little blurbs about you in Heaven's Metal, but nobody had heard you yet. And you guys walked out, and you opened your mouth, and I was like, you know, I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, so, that's funny.
So you guys were a direct influence on us, and Tony's drumming, and, you know, all of it. So
yeah. Tony, man, that Joker, he had a heart transplant, and look at him. He just goes, man. I'm just like, Tony, you the man. I always tell him he's the man, you know. They did a write-up on us in I think it was Hit Parader. And they had a readers poll to see who people liked as a drummer better. And at that year, I think it was in 89.
Okay.
It was Tony Velasquez up against Lars from Metallica. Ooh, wow. And Tony got the first place in the readers poll in the magazine.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we're like, oh my gosh, because of that, he got sponsored by either Zildjian's cymbals or drumsticks or something. But that was pretty cool for us just coming out and who are these jokers, you know? And it was pretty cool, man. I used
to love watching Tony drum back then because, you know, he always had a massive kit, right? 4 rack toms and 2 floor toms and, you know, this curly hair up there, and you just see this mane of hair and arms flying.
Oh, you know? yeah. And now look at him. You know what I call him? Mr. Miyagi.
Wax on, wax off.
if you look at him, think Mr. Miyagi, you'll be like, oh yeah, they could be related.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh man, but wait, I hope you guys come out to the Chicago show. I can't wait to give you a big hug, man, and make it work. Like I said, we're headlining, so we're not going to go on until I don't know 9:00, 9:30. You know,
yeah.
You're like 2 hours away. You said
about 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on out, bro. And,
yeah, because we take 55 to 355, and then we cut over, and so.
Yeah. Well, come on out, hang out with us, and we have plenty of places to stay too if you wanted to. I mean, they're not mine, but I know it wouldn't be an issue.
That would be, that would be awesome.
Yeah, instead of having to drive back another 2.5 hours after that. Yeah. So I'll talk to the guys about that tomorrow.
Well, it's funny that same weekend, because you guys played Friday, and then Paralandra, which I was telling you about, that's the band that the guy from Classic Petra, his band.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to see them, and they're playing Sunday night in Davenport, Bettendorf, which is about an hour and a half from here. So I'm thinking of going to that too if I can swing it.
Wow, man. Yeah.
So
you just live in the wildlife, man.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
But they're a wild and crazy guy.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Is It Wrong? And hanging out with myself and Innersiege or Wade, but we talked about the band a lot and got to know their hearts and stuff. Make sure you support them and watch their Wade's podcast. And we will talk to you later. Until that, God bless.